On our 6-year anniversary, the woman Julian has always wanted gave me 3 gifts: her marriage certificate with Julian, the paternity test for her son and Julian, and the knowledge that after 6 years of living together, I still hadn't received an engagement ring. That moment, I finally gave up. I called my mother. "Mom, I want to come home." Mother could barely contain her joy.
Good, Zoe.
The women in our family have never needed a man. Come home soon. Everything in the family is already yours. The instant I hung up, Julian's impatient voice rang from the doorway. "Zoe, is this ever going to stop? How long will you keep throwing a tantrum?" He shoved the door so hard that it jolted our daughter awake. Once, Julian treated Chloe and me like his whole world. Now he only cared about picking a fight. Lily's son wasn't feeling well today. I just drove them to the hospital. Why can't you let it go? Do you have any idea how hard it is for her to raise a kid alone? Today was supposed to be the commemoration of the day Julian first moved in with me. When we got together, he'd been a penniless nobody. His family wanted everything done simply. Julian had sworn that once he was rich, he'd throw me a proper vow renewal. Later, when he really was rich, he shrugged and said, "We're practically an old married couple, and we've even got a kid. Why make a fuss?" So, for 6 solid years, we had no marriage certificate, and we treated the day we moved in together as our anniversary. No matter how busy he was, he always came home to celebrate with Chloe and me. Since Lily came back, I had barely seen him. I still clutched that paternity test, fighting the sting in my eyes. I tossed it at his face. "Logan is really just Lily's son?" Julian froze. All the arrogance gone. "You know," I gave a bitter laugh and flung his marriage certificate to the floor. Tears streamed down. "So you forgot our anniversary because you were busy filing a marriage certificate with another woman?" Panic seized him. He dropped to his knees and grabbed my hands. "Zoe, let me explain. It was an accident. Years ago, on that overseas trip, I ran into Lily. We were both drunk that night. Lily told me not to worry, and I never imagined she'd keep the baby and raise him in secret, right?" The ache inside felt like thousands of needles. I yanked my hands away. "Horse," I asked, "so what now?" His face pinched. Finally, he tested the waters. "I'm still going to live with you and Chloe. Lily is understanding. She won't make a fuss. She just wants a legitimate identity for the child." My palm cracked across his cheek. "Have you no shame, Julian? Do you remember what you promised when you begged me to elope? Our family follows one tradition. Daughters never marry out. The man must enter the wife's estate." Julian refused, saying he was the only son in his family, and it would be a disgrace. He sweet-talked me into eloping and vowed that he would love only me, that he would never let me cry a single tear. 6 years later, his love and patience have finally run out. Cold-faced, he snapped, "You know I've treated you pretty damn well." Lily's depression flares up. She wanted a child for company. "Logan will be starting school soon. He's my flesh and blood. You expect me to refuse him an identity?" Before I could answer, he snatched up the marriage certificate and the paternity test, muttering, "When did you become so unreasonable? Lily doesn't mind. So why are you making a fuss? Face it, you'll never be as understanding as Lily." Tears still falling, I started to laugh. The pain had gone numb, and I had no strength left to argue. Her understanding was the night Chloe's fever hit 104, and Lily sobbed that her depression was acting up, that she was afraid of the dark. Or last month, when the elevator malfunctioned, she cried and flung her lightly scratched son into Julian's arms while hiding the fact I'd been trapped inside with Chloe. Just like now, no sooner had Julian stepped through our door than Lily called again. "Julian, Logan wants you to tell his bedtime story." "I don't mean to bother you. He's just so attached, I don't know what to do." When Julian turned to leave, I said, voice hollow, "Let's break up." Without looking back, he let out a mocking laugh. "We don't even have a marriage certificate. How exactly do you plan to file for divorce?" That single sentence turned the 6 years I'd clung to into a joke. No certificate, therefore nothing to divorce. He didn't come home that night. On Lily's Instagram, the 3 of them lounged on a bed, a picture-perfect family. The next day, I booked airplane tickets for Chloe and me. The moment I stepped back into the complex, Julian stormed over, seizing my wrist. Zoe, was it you? How could you be this vicious? Someone had splashed red spray paint across Lily's entryway. Homewrecker and man-stealer screamed over the wall and the door. When Julian dragged me over, I found Lily cowering in the corner, eyes swollen, clutching Logan while neighbors pointed and whispered. I'm not what they say, Julian, she sobbed. I only want to raise my son in peace. Why are they so cruel? With her delicate looks and gentle voice, rumor had it she was every boy's sweetheart back in college, Julian's moonlit fantasy among them. She gave me a veiled glance, then shrank tighter against Julian like a panic-stricken kitten. I've just come back. I've offended no one. Julian felt the same, so he aimed the blame straight at me. Zoe, you did this, didn't you? In his rage, he slammed my wrist against the stair railings. I was caught off guard. Together with my daughter, I crashed onto the tiled steps. Instantly, my elbow and knee were scraped open. Blood welled, and Chloe's wailing mouth began to bleed too. I hissed at the sting, hugged her tight to soothe her, then heard Julian grind out. I told you Lily is raising that kid alone. It's hard on her. She's battling depression. Do you even care? Are you going to hound her until she's dead? Under the stares and whispers of half the neighborhood, he pulled a crimson marriage certificate from his pocket. Lily is no homewrecker, he shouted. See this? Lily and I are the lawful couple. Because of that certificate, the whole complex now calls me the homewrecker. The neighborhood group chat won't shut up. She and the guy came and went together every day. I honestly thought they were married. Whoever's name is on the marriage license is the rightful wife, right? Explains why her kid still isn't in school. TSK, maybe the girl's undocumented. I don't want my children sharing a classroom with some street kid. Julian saw every one of those messages. He didn't correct a word. Instead, he texted sweet nothings. Once Lily and I finish Logan's school enrollment, I'll divorce her. I haven't forgotten our deal, I swear. We'd agreed to pick up our own marriage certificate in time for the kids to register for classes. Julian kept saying he was swamped, pushing it to the start of term. Now classes are about to begin, and he's already the man of another household. To butter me up, he snapped a photo of a strawberry shortcake. Look what I bought for Chloe. We missed our anniversary, so let's make it up today. I'll absolutely come home to you and our daughter tonight. All he wanted was for me to keep quiet and not expose his double life. I thought at least he felt something genuine toward Chloe, until, minutes later, Lily posted on Instagram a birthday shot of that very strawberry cake. My baby is 3 today. So blessed to have Daddy here to celebrate. The design was identical. Zoom in on Julian's picture, and you can see neat slice marks, leftovers from Logan's party. Then Lily's taunting text landed. Zoe, you sure can swallow humiliation. Still squatting in my place. Planning to wedge yourself between me and my husband like some homewrecker man-stealer? Gone was her soft, pitiful mask. Every line mocked and cursed me. She called me the homewrecker man-stealer, even though Julian and I were first. She snarled that my daughter is a bastard who can't see daylight, though Chloe was born before Logan. Finally, she crowed, attaching a photo, the 3 of them circling candles, Julian brushing a kiss across her cheek.
See?
Julian loves me. You were just a toy. If he'd meant it, you'd have had a ring years ago. If you're shameless enough to stay, dragging your little bastard into the middle of us, fine. I can endure it. Just don't blame me when Julian's devotion to us slowly drives you insane. I didn't read further. I powered the phone off and began stuffing suitcases for Chloe and myself. Julian is self-made. He's earned decent money and talked of upgrading to a bigger place. Yet Lily's return made him secretly buy a nest for her and Logan right in this complex. The new house budget gone. My daughter and I are stuck in our cramped old unit. The roses Julian once gave me, pressed into dried blossoms, went into the trash. The family scrapbook the 3 of us crafted together, I tore to confetti. At last, trembling, I drew out a keepsake box. Inside lay the straw-woven promise ring he'd slid onto my finger when he knelt. It's only grass now, but it carries my heart. One day, when I've made it big, I'll trade it for something grander and brighter. Because of that vow, I waited 6 years. only to watch the ring slip onto another woman's hand first. I set the band where he couldn't miss it, a final return promise. Suitcases in tow, I was locking the door when his message popped up. Zoe, Logan's got a bad stomach. Wait for me, I'll hurry back. So Chloe and I left without seeing him. Once again, he ran to them. I glanced at the screen, laughed coldly, and deleted every trace of him. Hand in hand with my daughter, I walked away without looking back. My family is dynastic in this city. Custom dictates our men move into the wives' estates and women hold the reins. When Chloe and I came home, Grandmother Constance and Aunt were already waiting. The old lady rushed the moment we stepped in, crying as she hugged us. Good, you're back, good. You've wasted away out there, Zoe. Spying Chloe, she paused, then beamed. And this little one, our next generation. Wonderful. Your aunt still refuses to pick a man. The line rests on your shoulders now. Aunt rolled her eyes. We're talking about Zoe. Leave me out. Besides, when did Ashford women ever lack men? The day some pretty boy earns my approval and agrees to matrilocal marriage, maybe I'll bite. Throughout, my mother Eleanor sat silent at center court, watching us. I wiped my tears, led Chloe forward, and greeted her with the proper bow. Years had passed, yet my mother was still the composed, immaculate CEO. When her gaze met my wet cheeks and Chloe's shy clutch, a tremor flickered in her eyes. At last she sighed. Know why I sent no driver? I lowered my head. Back then you defied every rule for that man and eloped, she continued. Now you must retrace, step by step, the road you threw away. Tell me, are you finally clear? I lost all control and dropped to my knees at her feet. Mom, I've thought it through. You and Grandmother and Aunt are my real family. I never should have hurt you for a man. Now I'm back, and I've made up my mind. From this day on, that man and I are strangers. Chloe and I were settled in the lakeside bamboo villa. That evening Mother brought people to deliver things. She fastened the silver locket around my daughter's neck and, for once, let a smile show. This is from your grandmother and aunt. It will keep our Chloe safe. When your mother takes over the family, you'll be the young mistress of her house. That night Mother stayed to sleep with Chloe and me. Unable to sleep, I asked her, once again, the question I'd asked as a child. Mom, why did you never mention my father? Mother was silent a moment, then answered flatly, are men really that important? The love talk of youth is just talk. A woman must never stake her life on a man's promise. Feeling the weight of everything I'd been through, she sighed and stroked my head. When you inherit the family and have money and power, when you carry responsibility, you'll understand. The man you once saw as your whole world is actually nothing special. In the 3 days after I left with my daughter, Julian never noticed. He was busy keeping Lily's son company in the hospital, busy manufacturing surprises and romance for that mother and child. Julian, I'm so sorry for making you celebrate Logan's birthday. I never used to throw parties. Every year Logan would cling to me asking who his father was, and I couldn't answer. That day Logan saw the strawberry shortcake you bought for Chloe and suddenly begged for one. In the hospital corridor, Lily twisted her fingers, pretending nervousness. The day Logan and I ate your cake, do you think Miss Ashford and Chloe were angry? Should I buy another cake to replace it? Only then did Julian remember he'd promised to come home that night. 3 days had passed without a glimpse of him. He mumbled, "It's fine, don't worry." Then he pulled out his phone to text me and discovered I'd already blocked him. Julian frowned. Lily added fuel beside him. Is Miss Ashford angry? I knew it, it's all Logan's fault, crying for cake that wasn't his. A child like him doesn't deserve cake, does he? Julian came back to himself, looking at the little boy pale on the bed, and hardened his heart. Relax, Logan is also my child. I can give him not only a legitimate name, but every duty a father owes. Remembering how, in a rage, he had pushed his daughter, so she fell and bloodied her mouth, Julian frowned again, feeling worse. But whatever is between you and me ends here. I'll find another place for you and Logan. Zoe and I will move as well. He paused, then steeled himself. The woman I love now is Zoe. No matter what happened between us, it's over. Our affair has already made Zoe suffer. I promised never to hurt her, so a flash of spite slid through Lily's eyes, but she smiled as if it meant nothing. It's all right, we agreed long ago. You married me only so the child could get papers. I'll step aside for Miss Ashford. If she'll still forgive you. That night Julian finally came home. But what waited was no warm, happy house. Only an empty old shell. He stood at the door calling Chloe and me again and again. Once, a soft little girl would have run to him, laughing, and planted kisses on his face. Now the house answered with silence. Panic hit him. He dashed to the bedroom. No sign of Chloe or me. Our clothes were gone. The Valentine's flowers I'd racked my brains to turn into dried blossoms, symbols of love I'd tried to preserve, were still there. So was the straw-woven promise ring I'd guarded like life itself, proof of my disappointment and flight. The shock dropped him to the floor. He snatched up his phone to call, only to remember I had blocked him. With shaking fingers, he typed a frantic WhatsApp. Zoe, where are you? I'm home. Sorry, I was too busy and forgot my promise to you and Chloe. I know I was wrong. Come back, please. In this home, only you and Chloe matter. You're the reason I fight. If you're gone, what's the point of living? He deleted and rewrote for ages. When he finally found the courage to hit send, a red exclamation mark shattered everything. Julian collapsed on the carpet, hand over his eyes, heart splitting with pain. Lily came after he messaged her. She stroked his hair, voice honeyed with pity. It's my fault. If I'd looked after Logan better and kept him from getting sick, you wouldn't have missed your date, and Miss Ashford wouldn't have stormed off. She sees her crouching son and slapped his bottom. It's all because you wouldn't listen. Who told you to beg for that slice of cake? No more cake, ever. The boy's heartbreaking sobs jerked Julian from his stupor. He caught Lily's wrist and sighed in defeat. Enough. It's not your fault. Zoe's just sulking. When she calms down, I'll coax her. She'll come back. That night, another taunting text from Lily arrived. So, I heard you left with the brat? Smart move. But a woman like you, hauling a fatherless child, where can you possibly go? A moment later, she sent a photo. Poor thing, you still don't know why Julian picked you? It was her college ID picture. Plain t-shirt, simple ponytail, eyes that looked eerily like mine. Next, she forwarded the love letters Julian had once written her. Julian only chose you as a stand-in because he couldn't wait for me to come back. You really are a failure as a woman, aren't you? For 6 years you were nothing but his shadow, slaving away, bearing Julian's children. And for what? The moment I came back, you had to vacate the spot, didn't you? There was a time when texts like these could have cut me open. But now I've inherited the family and Ashford holdings from my mother Eleanor. I've all but forgotten that man. Still, staring at the photo she sent, I drifted. For a moment I'm back when Julian and I first met. He said it was love at first sight, and I actually believed him. Turns out love never strikes without a reason. Every sweet word was a trap he'd set in advance. Lily's taunts didn't break me or drive me crazy. They simply rang an alarm. Back then she went abroad for grad school, clearly because Julian wasn't good enough for her. Even if they really did sleep together after too many drinks, someone as calculating as Lily would never let Julian's child be the result. And to vanish for years, then suddenly reappear with a baby daddy claim? Something rotten hid inside that timeline. So, I put an investigator on the scent, and the filth came rolling in. Lily's child isn't Julian's at all. The minute she landed overseas, she was hooking rich second-generation heirs. She dismissed Julian as a penniless dummy back then. Only after running into him abroad and learning he built a company from scratch did she decide to farm him as backup. I still don't know whether she and Julian ever actually slept together. But I did dig up the real father, cost me favors and cash. The guy used to be loaded, which was why Lily schemed her way into his bed and tricked him into fatherhood. She thought a baby guaranteed her a mansion with his last name. Then a financial tsunami swamped her boyfriend's family business overnight. After shaking the almost bankrupt heir down for a fat payoff, she forged a paternity test and flew home to Julian. The day I met the child's real father, I slid a partnership folder across the table. Do one thing for me and the project is yours. Enough to save your company. So when Julian came crawling to me, Lily and her son were already reunited with the actual dad. Plus, the guy, following my script, claimed he'd landed fresh investment and his company was stable again. Suddenly Lily's dream of marrying into big money reinflated. Shameless. She WhatsApped Julian. Julian's so sorry. The paternity lab must have mixed things up. Logan isn't yours. I was mistaken. Thanks for everything, but I won't bother you and Miss Ashford anymore. She hustled the kid out of the house Julian had bought them, leaving Julian the town joke. Therefore, when he showed up at my gate again, he looked ruined, unshaven, eyes bruised from sleepless nights. He staggered a few steps toward me. Spotting Chloe playing behind me, he dropped to his knees. Zoe, I was wrong. Please forgive me, okay? I had security throw him out. So Julian knelt at the gate of the lakeside bamboo villa for 3 straight days. A brutal thunderstorm happened to roll through. His already skeletal frame shook in the wind and rain. At dawn on the 4th day, he collapsed with a 104-degree fever. A corpse on my threshold would be bad luck, so I told the house manager to call 911. As the paramedics lifted him, I was walking Chloe to the car, on our way to Ashford where I would officially assume the CEO title. Julian thrashed, rolled off the stretcher, and crawled toward us, tears streaming, clutching my slacks. Zoe, I really know I messed up. He thrust Lily's message at me like a trophy. Look, the kid isn't mine. We both got it wrong. From now on, Chloe is my only child. You two are my whole family. I flung his hand away and bent lower, smiling coldly. Julian, why don't you read what she's been texting me? Only then did he learn that the woman who played tender and understanding in front of him had been bombarding me with venom, day after day, like a raving harpy. When his eyes landed on Lily's college photo, panic took over. Zoe, no, I didn't pick you because you look like her. Coughing from desperation, he kept pleading. Okay, I liked her back in college, but the minute she left the country, I quit thinking about her. When I first approached you, yeah, it was because you reminded me of her. But Zoe, we've had 6 years. Doesn't that prove what you mean to me? Tears finally spilled. He looked broken and sincere. I stayed because I love you. I told Lily the woman I'm spending my life with is you. He sank back to his knees, gaze lifted, begging. Once you risked everything to elope with me. Have you really forgotten how you felt back then? The scene hurled me back to the night Julian proposed, kneeling just like this, earnest and devoted. How could that version of me have known my courage and sincerity would land in the hands of a man still weighing another woman in his heart? I laughed once more and pried his fingers off my leg. Julian, do you know what hurt me the most? Looking into his bloodshot, trembling eyes, I let the words fall like frost. The moment I was overflowing with joy, when you were my whole world. In your heart, I was never the sure choice. You refused to file a marriage certificate, saying old couples like us didn't need a piece of paper. Yet with Lily, you signed one the day she asked. And that ring, remember? You promised it for 6 years, and I waited 6 years. I used to think you couldn't afford it. Turns out you simply didn't want to. The minute Lily wanted one, you bought it without blinking. Tears thick in his throat, he croaked. I'm sorry, it wasn't like that. I kept wanting to buy you a ring, but I kept holding out for something better, and time slipped away. The one I gave Lily, she said she'd never been married, that even if it was fake, she wanted a little ceremony. I laughed, lips pressed together, and nodded.
Right.
Whatever she wanted, you never hesitated. But whatever I wanted was always stuck in your cost-benefit column, postponed until it suited you. Julian, stop lying to yourself. The moment you pulled out that marriage license and announced to the world that Lily was your wife, willing to let me and my daughter be labeled homewrecker and bastard, you'd already made your choice. All your pain and regret now, it's only because you found out Lily tricked you. I looked down at him, cold contempt sliding into my eyes. Even if you came crawling back today, I wouldn't spare you a single glance. Like my mother Eleanor always says, once a woman has money and power, once she knows responsibility and courage, she understands. The man I once saw as my entire world is, in the end, nothing special. After I buckled Chloe into the car, I placed a call. So on the day Julian was thrown out, Lily and her son were also tossed to the curb. The dream of being a pampered dynasty wife shattered. Lily could only clutch her child and sob her way to Julian. Julian, you're the only one who can help me now. Logan isn't your son. But for the sake of what we once meant to each other, you won't turn your back on us, right? Too bad Julian had finally sobered up to her green tea games. He was drunk and wrecked. The sight of Lily uncorked every ounce of rage. He clamped a hand around her throat, eyes bloodshot and lethal. Tell me, did you always know Logan wasn't mine? That paternity test, you faked it. Still playing the fragile White Lotus. Lily clawed at his wrist. Julian, what's wrong? Did Miss Ashford poison you against me? I'd never lie, I really didn't know. She tried to drive a wedge between us, but Julian's roar cut her off.
Lily.
You still think I'm an idiot you can string along? He slammed her backward. She crashed into the glass coffee table. It exploded under her. Shards everywhere. Blood streaming down her face. She trembled, paper white. Julian's face twisted in a sneer. I was so damn stupid. Didn't see the real you until now. You think I don't know what messages you sent, Zoe? His grip tightened, pupils dilated with savage fury. Lily, I was blind to ever love you. But do you know what? The one I truly love now is Zoe. Tears of regret rolled down his cheeks. Even if I ripped my heart out and handed it to her, Zoe would never forgive me. And I have you, bitch, to thank for it all. What face do you have left to come begging? Lost in rage, Julian throttled the life out of her. When he realized she was dead, panic hit first. Then the thought that Chloe and I wanted nothing to do with him drained the fight from his veins. He accepted his reality and stayed in that room with Lily's corpse for 5 days and nights. Throughout, little Logan wailed. Trained by Lily, he knew when to feign sickness, stomachache, or flash an innocent, "Daddy, hug me" smile. But the man who once cuddled him was gone. In his place stood his mother's killer. Starved for 5 days, the boy watched his mother's body rot and stink.
Daddy, I'm hungry.
Daddy, I'm cold. He sobbed, only to be shoved away by Julian's cold hand. When neighbors finally smelled the stench and called the police, Lily's corpse was unrecognizable. Julian was arrested. By the time officers rescued Logan, the child was barely breathing. Because Julian's name was on the marriage certificate and he was now in custody. While Logan's biological father refused to acknowledge him, the boy was ultimately placed in foster care. Under interrogation, Julian stayed silent, insisting he would speak only if granted one last meeting with me and Chloe. Of course I didn't go. I would never let anyone discover that my daughter's father was a murderous traitor. I rushed through paperwork to change Chloe's name and enroll her under Eleanor Ashford's household register. Relaying my answer to the detective, I sent Julian a single line. As a father, if you can't give your daughter love, at least don't become the shadow that darkens her whole life. When he heard that, Julian finally went quiet. He confessed to Lily's murder and, from his cell, mailed me a letter of apology. In it, he swore he had never used me as a stand-in, that he had married me because he truly loved me. But he still didn't get it. Whether he loved me or not is now the least important thing in my world. Julian was sentenced to 20 years. 2 decades is long enough for me to forget the man ever existed, and long enough for Chloe to forget she ever had such a father. I tore his apology letter into scraps and dropped them into a brazier, watching the paper curl into ash. In the garden, grandmother Constance, aunt, and my mother Eleanor were playing with Chloe. Her bright, bell-like laughter rang through the sky. Grandmother nudged aunt again. Hurry up, find a man, have a child, get it over with. Aunt rolled her eyes. Look at Zoe's ending. Betting on a man is a losing game 9 times out of 10. I'd rather stay free and easy. Us women sticking together for life sounds perfect to me. In the sunlight, Chloe darted into Aunt's arms and smacked a big kiss on her cheek. Aunt wiped the slobber in pretend disgust, then caught grandmother's and Eleanor's eyes. All 3 burst out laughing. I exhaled, relieved, and walked toward them. Aunt is right. Who needs men? As long as our family of women stays bound together, that's enough. Why must a woman stake her life on a man's love and promises? With my gaze lifted from romance, life holds far grander vistas. Thank you for listening to today's story. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with friends. We look forward to reading your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe for more gripping tales.
See you next time.